Hey, Coach, thanks for taking the time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We'll get started here with Mike Kay and then Jeff McLean.
Hey, Brian. Just knowing that you had the relationship with Jalen coming here, how much did that appeal to you when you were interviewing for the job? And then how much has that helped you kind of reach him early on in this process?
Yeah, great question. I mean, it's been a pleasure to be in such a great organization and get a chance to coach at the highest level of football. Uh, Excited to get a chance to work with Coach Sirianni and Jalen and those guys. Obviously having that previous relationship before and knowing him uh, for the majority of his life, I've always followed his career from afar, and he's done a fantastic job. And now I'm looking forward to getting an opportunity to work with him.
I know it's come up in previous coaching stops, but have your quarterbacks realized that you were on the cover of NCAA, and has that been brought up at all?
Yeah, I don't think so here as much. That's then now that I think they're making the game again, so it'll probably get a little bit more hype than it has. But that's definitely one of the memories that I'll always cherish, and definitely have a couple of copies of those games to have proof for my children.
Go ahead, Jeff, and then Paul Domowitch.
Hi, Brian. Nice to meet you. Can you tell us your early memories of Jalen and
Well, I cannot hear your question at all. I'm sorry.
Jeff, we'll have to come back to
your
you.
early
Your audio's breaking up. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Brian. Brian, Dan Mullen said when I talked to him in February, said he was a little bit surprised when he heard.
Maybe you thought that this kid had something. Oh.
Hello.
Where are we here, Allie?
Go ahead, Paul. You're good.
Okay. Dan said he was a little bit surprised when he heard that you were interviewing up here because of the fact that you had two head coaching interviews with Boise State and South Carolina. You didn't really know a lot of people up here, and you hadn't been in the NFL before. What kind of went into your decision to make this jump and to coach, to take an NFL job?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is ultimately this is the highest level of football, and I was excited for a new challenge. And I felt like at this point of my career, and in terms of myself and my family, it was a great decision to get a chance to make the jump to the highest level of football, and we're excited to be here.
Go ahead, Brandon, and then Dave.
Hey, Brian. Jalen Hurts ranked towards the bottom of the league last year in a number of throwing accuracy metrics. From a coaching standpoint, like what goes into trying to improve his efficiency in that regard?
I think the biggest thing in terms of accuracy is obviously developing your feet and your eyes, and making sure that everything's in concert with your target, and having just a great understanding of what we're trying to accomplish as an offense. I've been extremely pleased with how he's handled the installs, both he and Joe, uh, in terms of learning the offense and coming in fully prepared and and putting us in a position to hit the ground running once we get to training camp.
We'll go to Dave and then Nick Fierro.
Hey, Brian, you mentioned watching Jalen from afar during his career. Now that you're working with him, what have you learned about him as a player, often on the field?
Yeah, it's very interesting because I've known him for a really long time, but this was actually my first time getting a chance to work with him on the grass, and obviously everyone knows about his intangibles and what type of player and what type of person he is, but he's extremely coachable. He wants to be a great player. He works extremely hard at his craft. He's very serious about becoming a great player, and it's been a pleasure to be out there on the grass with him.
Go ahead, Nick, and then we'll come back to Jeff.
Yeah, I was wondering, Brian, if since you didn't really have traditional OTAs, what you're able to tell about your quarterbacks, Jalen, and really everybody else.
Well, I think the big thing, obviously, because you don't go against a live defense in this particular portion, but you do get a chance to see some routes on air, and really from a mental standpoint of what's their capacity for learning. And guys have done a great job of learning the system, um, and coming in and really studying on their own and asking the right questions and being prepared and understanding what we're trying to accomplish as an offense uh, in terms of the install on a day in and day out basis.
Were you kind of more in spending more time than usual, like in a meeting room and classroom type things than you were on the field? And what could that
Yep.
be?
Well, it's very unique. Obviously the first part we started was virtual, so you got a chance to really install and sit down and meet with the players and install the system virtually. And then once we got them in the building, it became a situation where we were able to get out on the grass and try to transfer from the meeting room to the practice field. And the guys have done a nice job of learning a new system and coming in and being prepared each and every day.
Go ahead, Jeff, and then Zach.
Can you hear me now, Brian?
I can hear you. Yes, sir.
Great. What are your earliest memories of Jalen as a child? And as he was growing up, what did you hear from his father about what he was as a quarterback, and when did you kind of start to realize that maybe this kid had the goods to play at this level?
Yeah. Obviously it's been well documented that his dad was one of our coaches in high school. So I've known his dad probably since I was 15 years old, and I have memories of Jalen running around the field house when I was a high school player. Uh, we'd come back in the summer for workouts during my time in college, and his dad was running the weight program at our high school. So both Jalen and his brother would be in the field house. And once I got into coaching at Utah, I would go and visit and go recruit his dad's school once he became a head coach. And throughout the years that I was a college assistant going on the road recruiting, we obviously built a great relationship. And I remember at Mississippi State we recruited him really hard and tried to get him to sign there. And he ended up going to Alabama and having a great college career.
All right, we have time for one more, so we'll end it here on Zach.
Hey, Brian, as a follow-up to that, what role did his father have on your life growing up and your coaching career?
I've known, like I said, I've known Coach Hurts since I was 15 years old, and he's always been someone that I've had a ton of respect for. Not only as a coach, but as a father as well. Like I said, I've spent a lot of time with him over the course of the years throughout my development as a player and as a coach, and he's someone who I have a tremendous amount of respect for.
We actually have time for two more, so I'll get John and Martin.
Hey, Brian. Nice to meet you virtually. This is new for you, obviously, a transition. You've been at the college level, so this is your first time at the pro level. So you mentioned that off-season work and the scale back. Nothing changes for you because this is the first time. So how has that transition been?
Yeah, it's been very unique. There's parts of it where it's extremely similar. It's just football, but just the processes of certain things are different, and you kind of learn some things as you go. But it's been a wonderful transition in terms of getting a chance to be around a great group of coaches each and every day, great group of players each and every day, and just being obsessed with how do we improve these guys and get them better on a consistent basis, day in and day out. So I'm really excited to be here. Really looking forward for the opportunity to continue to help develop and put the quarterbacks in a position to where they can reach their potential.
All right, last one here from Martin.
Hi, Brian. Nice meeting you.
How you doing?
Kind of along those lines, being such a young quarterbacks coach, you have a veteran in your room, Joe Flacco, who's, been around. He's going in his 14th year, won a Super Bowl and everything. How valuable is that to you and the quarterback room? And what have you noticed about him as far as, his ability to play and lead and all that?
Yeah, well, Joe's been great. like I say, I mean, I've obviously watched him for a really long time, and he has a ton of experience. And I always say experience is life's best teacher. So he has a lot of intellectual property that he's been willing to share with our room, and it's been great for our room just to, hear from some of his shared experiences throughout his career in the league. And he's, I mean, he's just as smooth as they come. I mean, he's done it for a really long time, so he understands exactly, you know, what the goal is, what he's trying to accomplish, how he can continue to improve, and put us in a position to be successful. So it's been a pleasure to get out there and be on the grass with him.
All right. Thank you for the time today, Coach.
All right, thank you guys.